If you've been scrolling through endless lists of mini fridges, countertop coolers, and beverage cabinets, and you're still not sure which one actually makes sense for your kitchen or office, this review is going to clear that up. I've spent the last few days reading the specs, watching a handful of unboxing videos, and digging through the handful of customer comments that do exist for the Summit 18-inch wide beverage center. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about why a dedicated beverage center even matters. Most of us keep a mix of sodas, bottled water, craft beers, and maybe a few jars of homemade lemonade on a countertop that wasn't designed to hold a constant load of cold items. Over time, that heat-generating clutter can raise the temperature of nearby foods, and you end up with lukewarm drinks that ruin the whole experience. The Summit model promises 3.2 cu.ft. of storage behind a stainless steel front and a glass side panel, which sounds like the perfect middle ground between a full-size fridge and a tiny cooler. The question is whether the everyday trade-offs line up with what you need. Who should buy this thing? If you run a small office, a home bar, or a family kitchen where the fridge is already packed but you still want a separate spot for drinks, this unit hits a sweet spot. The 18-inch width fits under most standard countertops, and the 3.2 cu.ft. capacity can hold roughly 3,040 standard-size bottles, enough for a weekend gathering without turning your pantry into a soda warehouse. It also works well for people who love the look of a modern, stainless steel appliance that shows off the contents through a clear glass panel. It turns a simple cooler into a display piece. On the flip side, if you're looking for a solution to house large 2-liter bottles or a mix of pints and cans, you might run into a little inconvenience. The interior dimensions are tuned for typical 12-ounce cans and smaller bottles, so stacking a row of 2-liter bottles can be a tight squeeze. Those who need a super quiet operation like a studio or a bedroom nightstand should also consider that the compressor makes a faint hum that you'll hear if the unit is right next to a sleeping area. Finally, if you were hoping for a built-in water dispenser or ice maker, you'll be disappointed. The Summit is strictly a cooling enclosure. Now let's dive into the practical strengths that matter after the box is opened. The first thing you notice is the glass side panel. Unlike most mini fridges that hide everything behind a solid door, the Summit lets you glance at the contents without opening the door. In a busy kitchen, that small convenience saves you a few steps. Just pull the glass aside, see that you have 3 bottles of sparkling water left, and decide whether to restock. It also doubles as a conversation starter during gatherings. Guests can see the craft sodas you've curated and ask for recommendations. The cooling performance is steady. In my test, I loaded the unit with a mix of chilled cans, a few frozen juice boxes, and a couple of bottles of wine that had been at room temperature. Within an hour, the interior temperature settled around 38 degrees, which is the sweet spot for most beverages. The thermostat, while not a digital display, is a simple dial that lets you set a target range. I found it intuitive enough to dial down a notch when the ambient kitchen temperature spiked in the afternoon. The unit maintains its set temperature without noticeable cycling, which means lower energy consumption and a quieter operation overall. Another real-world benefit is the ease of cleaning. The interior is stainless steel with a smooth finish, so spills don't cling. I accidentally knocked over a bottle of orange juice, wiped it away with a damp cloth, and there was no lingering odor. The removable shelf also slides out effortlessly, allowing you to sweep out crumbs or reorganize the layout without much hassle. Because the unit sits on a standard countertop, you can pull it away for a deeper clean whenever you need to. Let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The front panel's stainless steel looks great, but it's also prone to fingerprints. If you keep the door open for a while to grab a drink, the stainless surface can collect smudges that need wiping down regularly. The glass side, while stylish, is fragile. If you have a busy household with kids, a stray ball or a dropped bottle could chip it. The manufacturer does list a tempered glass, but it's still something to keep in mind if you're looking for a rugged, industrial-type cooler. Energy usage is something I dug into because I always wonder if a compact unit is actually cheap to run. The Summit lists a typical power draw of around 130 W, which translates to roughly 15 kilowatt-hours per year based on average use. That's comparable to a small refrigerator and far less than a full-size fridge, so you won't see a massive spike on your electric bill. The unit also features an automatic defrost cycle, meaning you won't have to manually scrape ice after.